What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Mike, and today's video is going to be on the first month must drop players video. Now, Chris covered the last one, so I am excited to give you a whole new list of players ranging from 10 to 12 team leagues to 14 plus team leagues. Before we get into this video, jump in the comment section and let me know how your fantasy team is doing in the early going, some of your best and worst performers, and maybe we can work it out to see how to make you have a strong second half of the season. If you're not in the Discord, make sure you join it. We have hundreds of very passionate hockey fans. If you want to ask about trades, talk about your team, or just talk hockey, everything is in there. We are doing a Movember campaign. You're probably wondering where my facial hair is. Click the link in the description below. We're looking to raise $1,000 for men's mental health, something that's very close to my heart. We will match up to $500, so $500 from the community and $500 from us. Before getting this video, leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Without further ado, let's jump into the first month must drop players video. The first player that I want to talk about that's 20+% owned, which means he's likely owned in your 10 to 12 team leagues, maybe 14 team leagues, depending on the ownership percentage, is Logan Couture of the San Jose Sharks. The Sharks team has actually been kind of good. Maybe it's just Erik Karlsson I'm seeing everywhere and my boy Timo Meier, but man, Logan Couture has not been good at all. In 11 games played, he has 7 points, which actually isn't too bad, but a -6 rating. So for those in the plus-minus league, you definitely do not want to be owning this guy. His minutes are down this year. He's playing 17:59 per night right now, a 1-minute drop from 2021, which is really not a very good indication of someone that's going to continue to progress in his career. In 11 games, he has just 14 shots. For me, shots is one of the biggest indications of how players are going to be doing offensively. And 14 shots in 11 games is honestly kind of pathetic. A 4.2 shots per 60 rate, the lowest of his career. And when I was sorting by players with over 17 minutes and was sorting by the shots per 60 rate, Logan Couture was right up there near the top. So it's nothing really good about Couture. Lastly, I do prefer players that are on very good teams. Teams that are very good means they're scoring more, spending more time in the offensive zone. The Sharks are bad, the 5th worst goals for in the league, and a 47% shots for percentage. It's going to be hard for him to create any offense when he's consistently defending, and not to mention his very poor line mates playing with Matt Nieto and Alex Barabanov. I don't like Couture. If you own him on your team, make sure you drop him and look for other waiver wire targets. Moving on to probably the more controversial or the most controversial player in this video, Clayton Keller of the Arizona Coyotes. You know, I really wanted to add one player that we can talk about in the comments, and this is likely him. 8 games played, 8 points, which is not bad. A -8 rating. So again, your plus-minus leagues, you likely don't want to own this guy. 13 shots, 0 hits, and 1 block. He is literally doing nothing peripheral wise. So for those in category leagues that own Clayton Keller, he's basically doing nothing for you other than just goals and assists. So if you are in just goals and assist leagues, he's likely a very good own candidate. But for players in category leagues, I would be looking to drop Keller. 18 minutes and 35 seconds average time on ice, which is above average for forwards, but a 1.5-minute decrease from 2021 where he was playing over 20 minutes. So again, a decrease in ice time is an indication to me that he is not playing as well as he can possibly play. 5.2 shots per 60, a career low for Keller. This should rise eventually, but 5.2 is amongst the league's worst for players with over 18 minutes time on ice. Again, the Coyotes are just not a good team. They have the 4th worst goals for percentage and the worst shots for percentage. It's pretty known, like you guys probably know this by now, but this Coyotes team is not very competitive and they're spending a lot of time in their own zone and not much time in the offensive zone. 180 shots for and 293 shots against at the making of this video. So thank God for Karel Vejmelka. I hope I pronounced that right because he's actually not been too bad. Again, he's only good in goals and assist leagues at 67% ownership. I would be looking to drop Clayton Keller if you're in a categories league. I'm glad that's over with. I'm probably going to take a little bit of heat for that. But the next player and the first defenseman on this list is Matt Dumba of the Minnesota Wild. 9 games played so far this season, just 2 points and a -2 rating. The big indication here for me is his minutes are way down. I think this Minnesota D-core is very deep, especially with Cale Addison stepping up this season, someone we really liked in preseason. He's down to 20 minutes and 13 seconds. And honestly, in 10 to 12 team leagues, if you're not taking like a power play specialist and Addison is a very good example of it. You want defensemen who are playing at least 22 plus minutes, and Dumba just really doesn't fit the bill there. 4.0 shots per 60. I get it. He's a defenseman and shouldn't be shooting too much, but Dumba is known for his offense, and he's at career low offensive numbers right now. So again, things are just pointing down for Dumba. A 43% on ice Corsi for percentage, which means when he's on the ice, majority of the time, the opposing teams are in their offensive zone, and Dumba's really not creating any offense. Minnesota doesn't look too good in the early going. I think they will turn around eventually, but again, they lost an 85-point player in Kevin Fiala, and he was probably one of their best scoring touches aside from Kaprizov this season. Hartman's been struggling, so Dumba right now, I think he's a drop in 10 to 12 team leagues. You honestly probably could have guessed this player if I gave you 10 players to guess that would be a drop candidate right now. If you're in 10 to 12 team leagues, he's likely on your waiver wire or he's on the waivers where you can claim him. Elvis Merzlikins of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, going into this season, I didn't mind Merzlikins just because he would get volume starts, and Columbus did add Gaudreau, but this team has not been very good, and neither has Merzlikins. He's still the number one goalie in Columbus. So if you own him in your 14-team leagues, there's likely still a hold because you do want volume starters. But his 864 save percentage is the third worst in the league amongst qualified starters, so starters with at least 200 minutes played. A 475 goals against average. This is like beer league numbers. The second worst in the league. And Columbus as a team, you know, for me with goaltenders, the team in front of them is a big indicator for how good they're going to be. If the team is very strong offensively, the goalie's likely to be good as well. They have the 8th worst shots for percentage and the 2nd worst goals for percentage. They are not giving him any help at all, and there's not really much we can do about it fantasy-wise. Columbus is hurting him. I still think he's a good goaltender, but until Columbus can really show signs of offensive ability and ability to keep the puck out of their own zone and away from their net, he's a drop candidate. Drum roll, please. And you guessed it, John Gibson of the Anaheim Ducks is the next goaltender drop candidate. Just such a poor season from Gibson. I swear they wasted really good talent in Anaheim by never giving him any help. They did well drafting, but Gibson's ending his prime right now, and this team is just not good defensively at all. Again, still the number one goalie in Anaheim, similar to Merzlikins. He's still the starter. I don't think Stolarz has any chance of taking over, but his 888 save percentage is the 8th worst in the league amongst qualified starters, and his 423 goals against average is the 5th worst in the league amongst qualified starters. Both of these guys have beer league numbers for very good goaltenders, but it's just indicative of how bad their team actually is. And I have the numbers here to show it for Anaheim. A 44.59% Corsi for percentage, the 4th worst in the league. The worst goals for percentage, even after they beat the Leafs 4-3, 34.48. It was over 10% worse than the team below them. And lastly, a 42.24% shots for percentage, the 2nd worst in the league. They're just not a good team. And if you own a goalie on a team that's bad, they're going to struggle immensely. I've actually dropped in my league and picked up Swayman, who fell to the waiver wires. If you find yourself in the same situation, I would actually rather add a backup who will get half the starts but have much better goals against and save percentage numbers. Moving on now to my deep league players, 14 plus team leagues. Players to drop. I'm happy he's on the same team as the last player because it just meant a little bit less graphic editing. Ryan Strome of the Anaheim Ducks. A center, just 13% owned over on Yahoo. He has a career low 3.83 shots per 60, the 3rd lowest amongst player with at least 15 minutes average time on ice. Just absolutely atrocious from Ryan Strome. 9 games played this season, just 5 points, only 1 power play point and a -3 rating. He is not the same player on the Anaheim Ducks as he was on a very good Rangers team, playing alongside a 90 to 100 point player in Artemi Panarin and that team's power play that came first in the league last year for power play goals. He owns a 48% on-ice Corsi for percentage, meaning he's spending a lot of time in his own zone and not a lot of time creating offense in the offensive zone. Again, I kept this Anaheim graphic on here because of how bad this team actually is. They're just not generating any offense at all, and they are getting crushed defensively. I don't like players on bad teams, and Ryan Strome in 14 plus team leagues is a drop candidate for me. I feel like the screen is almost blinding my face right now, but I put Discord up. It's a little bit darker. Join the Discord if you're not in it. The next player on this list is Sam Girard of the Colorado Avalanche. Potential trade bait this year, so he could be interesting to hold. I don't really know where he's going to go, but for now on Colorado, his minutes, his opportunity, it's all going downhill right now. He has one of the biggest drops this season in terms of time on ice, -3 minutes from 2021. He was playing over 21 minutes per game last season, and he's now down to 18 minutes and 47 seconds. And the reason for this is Bowen Byram took a big step this season, and he has honestly hurt Girard's fantasy value quite a bit. 9 games played this season, just 3 points, 14 shots on goal, 5 blocks, and 9 hits. His hit and shot volume are at career lows. He's not really doing much offensively, and he's not really doing much in the peripheral categories. His decrease in minutes are pretty concerning to me. Like I said earlier, I don't like defensemen that play less than 20 minutes unless they're like power play 1 specialists. And Girard at under 20 minutes at 18.47 is nothing you want to be owning on your team, especially in 14 plus team leagues. At 90% ownership, Girard is definitely a drop candidate for me. Moving on now to a goalie under 20% owned. There's not really a lot of options, but I was surprised to see Cal Petersen at 13% ownership on Yahoo. My first note I have here is really indicative of what I'm going to talk about. Why is he owned? I don't really know. He holds a .410 goals against average, the 5th worst in the league, an .871 save percentage, the 2nd worst in the league. Honestly, the goals against average will likely come down. The save percentage will likely go up at some point, but right now he is just not doing it for me. And you may be thinking, and what we've seen with the other 2 goalies that I've had on this list is their teams are really bad, but LA is actually a good team. He has the 7th least high danger shots against per 60 amongst goaltenders with at least 200 minutes, meaning his team's actually doing very well defending and not allowing a lot of scoring chances, yet he's letting in a bunch of goals. He has a -3 goals saved above expected, the 11th worst in the league. The Kings are good. Cal Petersen is just not. He is not worth owning in any league at this point in the season until he can show us that he is going to turn things around. Finally, we are ending this video off with the ugliest logo because their other logo is so dark and just doesn't fit in here. Alex Killorn of the Tampa Bay Lightning, left wing, right wing eligible, which is actually kind of nice, but he's just not really doing a lot this season, and he's not worth owning and holding on to because he did lose his power play 1 spot. Anyone that's on that Tampa Bay power play 1 has a ton of value, and Killorn's minutes have dropped this season by -1 from 2021, and this honestly may just be the lack of power play minutes he's getting right now. He was a solid power play player with the Tampa Bay Lightning last season. Honestly, pretty good 5-on-5 with his line mates, but he has been atrocious this season with a 4.4 shots per 60, a career low. This may be indicative of his age. He is currently 33 years old, which actually kind of surprised me. I feel like all these cup runs, I feel like this team's super young, but Killorn's 33. He's regressing. 9 games this season, just 5 points, 13 shots on goal, and just 6 hits. Career lows for him right now in terms of shots and hit rate. And he has a 46% on-ice Corsi for percentage on a Tampa Bay team that has been very strong this season. Alex Killorn, 19% owned on Yahoo. He's worth a drop in 14 plus team leagues, and you can look elsewhere on your waiver wire. That'll do it for the must drop players video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.